And it gives me great pleasure to introduce our final speaker for today, and her name is Ms. Keisha Grigsby. She provides independent consulting services to organizations that provide behavioral intervention to at-risk youth, families, and adults. Her specialized areas of concentration include risk reduction and prevention education specific to alcohol, tobacco and/or drug use, youth diversions, and HIV/AIDS, STD prevention, and early intervention. Currently, Ms. Grigsby, and since 2010, has provided program consulting services to the Family and Youth Enrichment Network, short name FYEN, which is located in West Helena, Arkansas. So without further ado, I'm going to move out of the way and let Keisha do her thing.
Everybody give yourself a hand clap. The reason I say that is because some of us been in the trenches for a while. And some of you have this bright, vibrant new energy. And now they've given us this task to come up with a T21 policy. Okay, so who knows Keisha Grigsby? Who knows? Who's familiar with me? Y'all already know. We just had the best part of the conference was then, and now we're going to get a little, I don't want to say ratchet.com, but anyone that knows me knows that I do things differently. One of the things is that I work, my name is Keisha Grigsby, I work with the Family and Youth Enrichment Network, which is FYEN. We're located out of Helena, West Helena, Arkansas. Is anyone familiar with my area? Yes. So I'm deep down in the Delta, right? Okay, all right, I say that for a reason. We serve people of color in the counties of Phillips and Lee County. I'm gonna start my presentation. Our mission is to reduce, of course, the use of tobacco-related health disparities among populations of highest burden. Who's the highest burden? Who's us? Because us can be different, and I'm gonna say this. We're gonna play with this T21. Us can be different for me in West Helena, Arkansas, as opposed to us in Fayetteville, Arkansas, right? I say that to say that there is no cookie cutter approach to what you will do with T21. No cookie cutter approach, okay? What works in Helena may not work for your community. Your community may not even be culturally appropriate for T21 yet. Did she say that? I said that. Now, what do I mean about culturally appropriate or culturally competent? How can your community not be? Well, I'll say it, I'll answer it. If you have been working on smoke-free parks policy for the past 2 years, and you get an email, and the email says, we want you to change your direction. We want you to now start driving toward establishing policy to T21. Can you do it? Well, did you get a can? Did anybody get a can? We had to do it, right? We following the money, right? We trying to follow the money. But what if we don't already have systems in place to accomplish or achieve something as big as T21? For example, what is that like? I live in Phillips County. You know what makes it a little bit of a struggle in Phillips County for T21? Want to know what was one of my biggest struggles? I'll ask somebody from my county. Miss Stacy Morris, you from Phillips County? What would be something that would hinder you from accomplishing T21 in your Phillips County?
Probably not being able to collaborate with other local partners who may have just as much experience, may not, even more. So, like yourself.
What could be an issue is that they've been telling you, you heard everybody say, collaborate, 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 right? Don't reinvent the wheel. Adapt and collaborate, 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 collaborate. But what if there are systems in place that you can't collaborate? Do you think that that can prevent you from accomplishing your goal of T21? Because collaboration will give you the ability to do stuff that maybe you can't do by yourself. Remember I said my pastor said, Keisha, I know you're a heathen and you don't know how to crack. But if you get by that brother that just be, woo, all in that bone, I promise you, you'll figure it out. So we must collaborate. Now, I happened to work years ago at the Marine Institute. I want you to write that down too. Marine Institute under Dr. Robin West. So back in the 90s, Keisha was doing HIV, and then California decided we wanted to go smoke-free. And we had to turn our efforts from HIV, harm reduction, risk reduction, and start to deal with smoke-free public places. And we was like, what? There's no way. Why? Because back in the day, I know I look young, but back then, there were social norms where smoking was cool. They don't want to talk about it. But you forget that we used to turn on our TV and leave it to people's mama was like, and we didn't think nothing about it. We didn't think nothing when Wilana was smoking. The only thing we was concerned about is when Penny got burned with the iron. We was like, you got some issues in your household, girl. We didn't say nothing about smoking. And we didn't even begin to deal with the fact that as African Americans, you know, tobacco currently in our history. I won't say it, but the powers that be will have you believing you was brought over here to harvest some cotton. But now, sir, not only was you picked up, was you researched first, then you was picked up based on your abilities, and you was put in a place according to your skill level so you can harvest that tobacco. But the powers that be will say, I shouldn't like people that are different than me in this country because they made us work on a cotton plantation. No, let's go back even further. When they was picking you up and throwing tobacco in the hulls of the catacombs of the ships, because they had seen that the Indians was taking this wiki weed and they was smoking it, and they seemed to not be hungry. They seemed to be happy, and they seemed to work more efficiently. But wait a minute, let's not only make them harvest it, but we're gonna feed it to them and start generations of addiction. When you got here and your mammy and your granddaddy and all of that, we was already addicted because they was feeding it to us for food. So there are systems in place for certain populations that give us a predisposition to use. So I go to the Marine Institute, and this is in Upper California. And what happened, the Marine Institute was developed because the hippies from Haight-Ashbury, you know, they set up and said, we're going to change the world. We're going to go over here to Stanford and Berkeley and get educated on social norms and public policy so we can change the world. And they created this institute to talk about grassroots advocacy and community-based policy. And we was like, what? We live in South Central. The only grassroots advocacy we have is the ghetto birds. Like, they tell us what's going on. So we had, we from South Central. We working in Compton and Jordan Downs. We don't know. So the hippies decided to play a joke on us. We get to the airport. We get to our taxi, and I look like I look, and everybody else looked like I look, and then I had a Guatemalan assistant. And we waited for our taxi, and we ended up waiting about 4 hours. It turned dark because nobody would give us a ride in a taxi. And I didn't understand why. I was like, why are these taxis just passing us? Well, I didn't know at the time, based on my color, they weren't gonna pick me up because they thought I was gonna rob them or not have my fare at the end and just get out. Well, I wasn't raised like that. You made an assumption. I just want to get from A to B. And I got a whole per deal saying, I will pay you. So we get there after a long walk, and we arrive at a Catholic monastery in San Rafael. And you can't talk. Do y'all know Keisha like talking? They said we can't talk for 4 days. I said, what kind of conference is this? So me being a director, we ready to go. Come on, let's go, because I'm not having this. I said, where's the telephone? The nun said, what? I said, well, what is this? So they take us to our room quietly, and we don't have no TV, no telephone, no nothing, but a fan. And I was like, what is this? I was ready to go. So later that night, under our door, we got this clinical case study. I never forget it, Silver City. Ugh. We got a template about Silver City, and we had to, by the next day, based on the identified problem that they had given us, we had to come up with what we call back in the day, evidence-based strategies of how to deal with it. You all remember logic model? I hated it. Oh my goodness, you couldn't do nothing without a logic model full of evidence-based strategies. And that ended up helping me because guess what? If you already did it in North Carolina, then hey, I got my little pot of money and it may be $15,000, but let me go over her. Now, how did you get that done? And what research did you do? Did you do any research? Can I have that research? Can you email me a copy? Okay, that's all I need. And are you a part of a coalition? What part of the coalition you from? Can I be on it? Create real win-win reciprocal relationships. I'm gonna give you that one, okay? Because you're not gonna have any money, and if you're dealing with children, like my granny say, chillins, you're gonna have to buy some zoom zooms and wham whams. They may not be in your budget. A lot of stuff is not gonna be in your budget. Sometimes even coming to these trainings ain't in my budget. Isn't that ridiculous? Is that ridiculous? Because Miss Keisha want to know everything. I ain't learned like y'all. I don't know everything. How you do that? I want to know everything. And guess why I need to learn it? From people who already did it. Evidence-based strategies. That's not only on Google. That's also right in this room. Don't believe me? Hold on. Let me show you. Computer-based action right here. Who has been in tobacco for 10 years and above? Please stand. Please, please, please. All right. I want everybody to look at the people who's standing up. This code go back to old school asset mapping. Y'all shouldn't have put Miss Keisha on the agenda. I want you to look at everyone you see standing around. Now, I'm going to just give you a clue because I've been doing this for a while. This lady somewhere in this area is the big dog, okay? Now, the general kind of, I'm getting warm, but I didn't say, you didn't hear that from me. So make sure you know. Now, when you need to get some data and you need to get in a place that you can't get in and you need that balm of Gilead, you need to hover over her. She gave me a Bible on prevention and said, Keisha, I'm giving you this because I love you, but I want it back. And I said, I'll give it back when I'm finishing this field, and I ain't gave it back yet. Now, I want to thank this lady because without this lady helping us get the word out, because my budget is limited, we would not be here. So, understand where your stakeholders are. And then, if you really get confused, you know, I like to say, Miss Rushing, you know I'm over here, so I ain't got enough resources. What can I do to help champion my cause and get it, you know, in completion? That's Dr. Debbie Rushing. She got more education than I could ever have. She gonna lay it out. And that's the great thing about Arkansas. Everybody will help each other. And then another asset will be your grant administrator. Now I know some people don't have this type of relationship, but you better get that kind of relationship. Where you better, honey, listen, a nurse, and your postal person, your letter carrier, and your grant administrator. Then your husband or your wife. But you didn't hear that from me. Okay, y'all can take a seat. Now then, what do we deal with? Y'all see I'm crazy. So you know my population is key. We have youth initiation, prevention, and education. Then we have community-wide tobacco education and prevention. Y'all can read because y'all are doing the same things. Now, if you are new in this climate, get by somebody who has been there a while. Miss Joyce, now I'm going to tell you a good secret about Miss Joyce. Miss Joyce come with a lot of knowledge. And Miss Joyce the kind, you know, like a big mama be like, girl, you're taking too long. Let me just do this. This is what you need to do, and you need to call this person. You know what, girl, I send you an email. Ain't no shame. Are you moving closer to your policy? Yes. So before you start doing anything with anybody, I want you to start doing that old school asset mapping. You sit down and you begin to look at what are your assets, who can help you accomplish your goal, and what's your hot spots. Now see, we don't never talk about hot spots, but I'm old school. We had to identify. The hippies made me identify my hot spots. So the hippies tell me in South Central, okay, Crystal City's supposed to look like South Central. And they got an issue with drugs. Crack had hit the community. And they needed to try to figure out a grassroots approach to how to deal with crack in Crystal City. I said, I smell a conspiracy. So, we write up everything. This is how I got to know Maxine Waters back in the day. We try to deal, remember the war on drugs? And how everybody out there send out all these RFP. I mean, we was getting big dollars back then. What we get now? Oh, honey. Back then, you used to get big piles of money to deal with a problem. They said, fix Crystal City, which was really South Central. But we came up with all of these approaches. But guess what we did? We made it look good. But guess what we forgot? We forgot to go and ask the people at Crystal City, hey, how you doing, Bruce? How you doing? You know, I'm a former Jehovah's Witness. You know, you gotta use what you got, okay? So, how you doing, Bruce? Well, you know, what's been going on in the community? And see, Mr. Bruce is the man that sits on his stoop. And Mr. Bruce watched everything. And he said, babe, it ain't got nothing to do with crack. It's got something to do with the fact that there is a liquor store on every corner in South Central, and in those liquor stores, there is a proliferation of alcohol and tobacco advertisement. And y'all, nobody had ever thought about that. After all that money was spent, we never thought that, hey, before we go in, maybe we should ask. You gotta inspect, check, and inspect again. That's when you remember those community assessments we used to have to do? Did you understand why? That's because that assessment was teaching you where your assets were. Everybody in your community has the potential to be an asset. And if you sit down and take a simple piece of paper and write down your assets, you'd be amazed at who will help you champion your cause. But when you identify them hot spots, you figure out in your mind how you're going to take that hot spot and change it into an ally. I remember I had to work with human trafficking. We was in Pico Union. And so, of course, we had an issue with prostitution. And because that particular area, there was an influx of newly immigrated people. Now, they send me, who speaks no Spanish, into areas where and let me tell you what I didn't know. They send me into Spanish-speaking monolingual communities. Keisha from Texas. So, I had to bring together a community that was Hispanic, but Hispanic that was from Mexico, Nicaragua, El Salvadorian, I could go through Colombia, and I thought, oh, they all speak Spanish. Isms. They all speak Spanish. They gonna get along. I said, well, since I can't speak Spanish, can you rewrite this and translate this flyer for me so I can go and disseminate it in the neighborhood? She did. Problem was, she was Mexican. And I was, y'all already know where I'm going with this, right? She was Mexican, and I was speaking through diverse Spanish-speaking populations. Did you know there's proper Spanish, and then there's incorrect Spanish, and if you say the incorrect Spanish to a person, it offends them, and you can't get further because it's considered disrespectful? I didn't know that. This really happened. And did you know that there's a caste system in Spanish-speaking communities? I didn't know that. Try to put a group of Nicaraguans and El Salvadorians in a room together and tell them to accomplish a goal. First, the dialect is different. The thought process is different. Then throw in another thing by adding someone from Puerto Rico. Yeah. I know, Doc. So there's a reason for my insanity. Okay. So, Keisha does all of this, and then we find out that there's a human trafficking problem. So I did my asset mapping, did my logic model, and then I had to identify my hotspots, which were the proprietors of sex. I had to go to their pimps. Because they're all along the street. I'm dealing with human trafficking. And I had to find a way to make that person an ally. And that was the hardest thing to ever do, I've ever done. But it happened. It's all in your approach. And no one can define your approach other than you. You know why? You're the only one who knows your community. You're the only one that has a presence in your community. And keep a presence in your community because you're branding your agency. You're branding your whatever objective you want to accomplish. They are used to seeing me. When I had to do Operation Storefront, everybody was having a fit. Soon as we put our toes on the retailer's door, they say, don't come in here, little girl, with that. We is not selling to you. I know your mama, and I know your mama, I'm going to tell you in here trying to buy cigarettes. Oh, thank you. I'm going to send that to Dr. Russian. Okay. So, we had all of those policies that we did back in '99, California Goes Smoke Free, and then I see a trend. Well, it was like 96. Then I seen a trend in 99. We just went completely smoke free, and then they bring up what? We're going to establish medical. Y'all see a trend? I don't think y'all are aware of the trend because nobody wants to talk about it. But today we talking about it. I wasn't the one from North Carolina that said racism, but let's talk about it. I'm so thankful that there are people who have went before me and have laid the groundwork. So, okay, I'm not gonna broach that because I know we don't want to talk about isms. But I want you to know from Miss Keisha, now you ain't gotta believe me, there are systems already put in place that had nothing to do with you. They don't care about you, and you wasn't even thought about in the conversation. Who believe that? Raise your hand because y'all scared. Come on. And I'm gonna tell you something else. It's not only color, it's economic situation, because California is not racism, it's classes. It's all about what you got, what you drive, where you live. If you live south of Washington, that's South Central. Y'all sound legally blonde, or we don't go south of Washington. So everybody that was on south of Washington, we knew was either black or poor. So we weren't really concerned over there. But then you have communities like my community, Helena, West Helena, which was 2 cities that couldn't agree on making 1 city. So the city just said, oh, let's just scrap it, and we gonna be Helena, West Helena, so everybody we had. What we saw with that, I don't know. But this is the climate that I'm coming in. In 2008, it was a lot going on in West Helena, a lot. And it was a lot going on in tobacco. We were still figuring out this thing. Now, I don't mean no harm to nobody, and y'all gonna run me out. Please forgive me. I'm gonna use the word amnesty. Please give me some amnesty because y'all know I'm a little throat. Please, just forgive me. That's a word for I'm not quite right, okay? I remember when we started, we all sat at the table and we all talked about what was going on, the climate and the context of our community. Do you remember that? And then, even better, Miss Argo said, we're gonna give you technical assistance, Keisha. And guess what? a ram in the bush. Everything y'all do is gonna come down from the coalition just to make sure you don't mess up. And everything used to come from this beautiful lady. You see how she's preserved and I look ratchet? Because, you know, this lovely lady had to do all the work. And she would say, you know, this is what we do. And we all turned our cars. Okay, Catherine, let's go. And we was all going, even if we was figuring it out wrong, we was all headed in the same direction. And you know what that coalition used to allow us to do? Prove. Do you know anybody working on getting cessation in churches? You know any pastors? You remember that conversation, Bruce? And you remember you telling me, Keisha, I got a better idea. Don't even go to that pastor. Come to Little Rock, I know the bishop of the A&E church. What? The whole bishop? And he said, Keisha, and if you go to the bishop can make it a law, and the other church, what? I got by somebody who prayed, and his vision was even bigger than mine. But we stuck together, and we was moving together simultaneously, and we was getting momentum. We was getting momentum. And the thing is that another thing, we knew what everybody was doing. Let me tell you what, if you got an activity that's going on in Jonesboro and you can't get your legislators to attend, you say, Keisha, come on with all your folks. Come on, you come, and I want you to come, Stacy, and I want you to come, and then we come in the masses. Numbers. But we don't do that no more. Just saying. Okay. Now, we did smoke-free parks. Now, I know that's not me. Miss Keisha had gone on then, but we did it in Phillips and in Marietta. Of course, y'all know that. But guess what? We was all doing that. Do you remember that? We all had the same objective. Did you remember that? And even if you was coordinated school health, you remember that way back then? Even if you was coordinated school health, you could still come and work with me. And we were supposed to create these reciprocal relationships where if you only had $10,000 for media and I ain't had none, you could do the media, and I put my little Miss Arco little tagline at the bottom of your flyer. Boom! Send it to Miss Russian. Did I do my job? Yeah. Yeah. So we don't do that no more. I want you to understand the importance of working together. You must. Funders have got to realize that we can't work in silos. And funders have to sit and listen to the people who are on the ground. I say that way back in substance abuse, they had their ivory tower. And they tell us all the way from San Francisco what to do, Sacramento what to do. But they didn't know that I'm working South Central. I ain't doing that. I'm not doing it. It was not culturally appropriate for my area. And you're gonna have to realize that there are some things that you will be able to do, and there are some things that you're not set up to do. Now, you didn't hear that from me. I'm gonna stop because I'll get kicked out. All right, as a result, we of course enacted T21. But let me tell you something about that. I want you to see this picture. Last year, did it go up? You see my city council? See these people? See how easy it is for me to get on the agenda to make a presentation before my city council? I can do it anytime. Now, you think that can happen in Fayetteville? Little Rock? It's not going to be that easy. So it's up to you to really know your community. So Keisha takes hotspots and make them an ally. And watch that too, because I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get into that gray area of lobbying. Nobody wants to mention that word either. We done had 3 dirty words today. Dirty girl, go back to that girl. Dirty words. And one of them is lobbying. Because when you get your policies sometimes accomplished, people gonna want to know, did you lobby? Like you ain't been working in this thing forever. Did you lobby? No. I advocated and educated, but I enable your community members to go and educate your city council and legislators, because you gotta watch the gray area of lobbying. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? It's very serious. I need you to understand. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, please talk to your grant administrator. Because you don't want to get caught up after you have done all this policy and they say, hey, we saw where you was over there talking to Councilman Bruce Lockhart, and you know, you was talking about you trying to urge him to vote on your initiative. Well, see, it's a gray area with that. Because technically, they can say, you was lobbying. So watch your lobbying, watch that, and I tell you, you better get a direct mail campaign. I don't talk. I might say something, so I'll talk. I send letters. You know, I talk to y'all, but I don't talk to I don't talk. And if I talk, I make a speech. So this is how we do it. I already talked about take the pulse, asset mapping. Before you do anything, asset map. Also, utilize the people you've seen that have went before you, accomplished that goal, asset map. Google. I Googled and Googled and Googled T21. And when the agency that came up out of St. Louis, Missouri, when it came up, I called. I can't do it like a lot of y'all. I called. Hi, Mr. Guys, how are you? My name is Keisha Grigsby. I'm from Arkansas. What? Yes, Arkansas. And I talked to him. And then I proceeded to call his director right behind him. I want to know from the head to the top how you did it. And you know what? He sent me everything. Everything. We be liking to share. We like to share. It's no harm. We like to share. So, he was one of my assets and he helped supported my cause. There are other people in your community that will do that. Think outside the box. You work with kids. If you got to accomplish or deal with a problem, try to figure out some strategies to deal with kids, and you working in schools, don't you sit there and just talk to that principal and teacher. If you're real like me, you better go find the cafeteria worker and the janitor, because they know what's always going on. See, y'all don't work with kids. You have to know. You are the only person who knows the context in which you can speak. And sometimes it's thinking outside of the box. Okay. Determine which networks are, what your best support networks are, and help them build momentum. My best support network, of course, was the beautiful, and if it was a guy over there, anybody that you saw stand up. But then another one of my assets is her. This is an asset. This is a network that I need to support, and she needs to support me, because guess what? We are both trying to accomplish the same objective. It's not double dipping. She has her objective, right? And I have my objective. But your objective is to deal with kids in school. No, you have smoke-free housing, right? And I have T21. I had. Now, we need to be working together because I've already, one, had to deal with policy with kids. Two, been in it a while. But then the great thing about you is that you new and you fresh and you coming with new ideas that Keisha might not have thought of. Just like Bruce passed me that pearl back in the day. I'm still thankful for that. I never forget Bruce. So, anyway, I need to know her and she needs to know me. We need to be a team working together because only we know Phillips County. Guess what? Here's a big example. I'm going to get kicked out for this too. Quit line. Anybody heard of it? SOS quit line? Boy, y'all should raise y'all hands. Y'all ain't looked at y'all work plan. I don't know. Okay, quit line. We all supposed to be referring, right? Now, quit line work in Little Rock, but don't work in my town. Why? I live in the rural community. One, we ain't ready to tell you our business on the phone. Because we used to looking at eyeballs. And see, not only we gonna look at eyeballs, we gonna be like, you know that girl, who her people? You don't know her people? And they say, I know her people, you know her people? Okay, I'll tell you. Also, my community or my little constituency, they rotate phone numbers. Like, that's where people who live in poverty, they don't have a home line. I don't have a home line. And I ain't ready to talk to you and use up my minutes. We are not going to do that in the Delta. When you call me and you tell me, well, first I need to go over your financial information. Click. I don't know about these young folks, but I come out of the caller ID generation. We look, we stick, and check, and so I need to answer that. So that don't work over where I am over in the deep south, and it's still Arkansas, right? But it ain't the same as over in Fayetteville, right? We need to talk about these things. That's a whole nother thing. And Miss Keisha gonna really get kicked out because Miss Keisha came out of cessation. Y'all know I was cessation. Y'all know y'all told me to shut up for 5 years about cessation, but I take it personally because how do we sit there and tell people that you are addicted to the strongest drug known to man, and then we turn around and hand you a pamphlet? Call that number. It'll save your soul. If she said, I love Dr. Pepper. That is so 19. I love it. So if Dr. Pepper say they're spending $1 billion per hour, you come with your, this is a number that can help you. If you really need to quit. And then they tell you, oh, not only okay, I'm gonna talk you through this, but you gotta go to your doctor and you gotta get a prescription on that pharmacotherapy. And I can't pay for your pharmacotherapy. I can't do it. You can't have smoke-free housing units, and I'm already addicted. And then you tell me I can't smoke in my own house. I'm living in the Delta now. Y'all don't act brand new. Don't act brand new, because culturally, my granddaddy say as long as he in the house, he is God. He controls the lights, the weather, everything else. Now, I found out an interesting fact. This is an interesting fact that I found out. Do you know why Arkansas was first, the land of opportunity? I found this out at Jonesboro Estate. Arkansas was one of the states where slaves could own land. They weren't free, but they could own their own property, and they could control what go on their property. Because when I got to my cessation class, and this is why you really need to know your climate and your environment, they said, who from Arkansas? Oh, you're from the state with the bloody Sunday. What? What's that? All I know is Central. What happened? I didn't even know my own history of my state. Oh, you should read about how they took their land from those people in Eden. I'm having people that are literally, I am in New Jersey at UMDNJ, and they are educating me. And these are millennials. I'm going to tell y'all something about the millennials. They say we destroyed the earth, and the millennials are going to save the world. I need y'all to hear that. Because sometimes we minimize the fact that our youth, they got a whole lot of talent, whole lot of ideas, and they are different from us. They armed with information. Y'all don't care about social media, but the kids do, and they more informed than Big Mama. See, Big Mama will get on the phone and talk, but they get to Googling. Once you tell them something, you gotta make sure you right, because they will pick up I ain't looking at your messages. Smartphone, you know. I was kind of like, no, Miss Argo didn't put Operation Starfire on the phone. I'm too old for the phone. What? But the kids. Next door, Miss Keisha. What is y'all doing? The millennials are so well equipped with information. And y'all don't want to realize that most of your older adults that are addicted now was addicted for lack of information. It wasn't until Reagan that they told us the truth. And y'all act like you should do better. Like we ain't already been through that. Like we ain't already been lied to. We ain't already been bamboozled, hoodwinked. You know, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm still waiting for my 50 acres. I don't need a mule, but I'll take a lorry. Okay, so, all right. Activate your coalition. I try to make jokes because it's a serious climate that's going on in our state and in the world. And nobody wants to have dialogue. And when we get dialogue, we get angry because it's hurt. It's so much hurt under that anger on both sides. On both sides. So that's why I say, arm yourself with information. Activate your coalition. You know, Stacy has smoke-free housing, and I said, girl, as long as I've been in tobacco, that's a hard one. Ooh, especially in my environment. Has anybody been to West Helena? How many apartment complexes we got? We got the projects. We got one apartment complex. How many do we have? Three? And one is new? Yes. So do you think that's gonna affect me accomplishing my goal? Now, also, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Now, when I go to a home, or let's say he has an apartment complex, a property owner, in my climate, I have to be careful. Why, Bruce? God, I'm telling the truth. I'll act like I said it, or you can whisper in my ear. Why is it going to be a problem for me? It's a racial climate in my town. Because, let me tell you why. In my town, the property owner is going to look like you taking from my house and my money, and they ain't going down. Who that girl? Where she come from? Who are people? Get her out of here. Because his money, the hook is always going to be the framework, money. Everybody wants to know, how is it going to affect my money? And then some people will say, Bruce, you're going to get mad at me. Some people say, you know, enforcement doesn't matter. But I beg to differ because I just seen it in action. And they're going to want to know, one, you affecting my money. Two, who going to enforce this? Who going to enforce this? Will we be responsible? Because then they're going to have to pay employees to enforce money. You see? And then they want to know, well, who we get this? Y'all don't act brand new. Don't act brand new. You can't tell me that you ain't never ran into an issue of approaching policy and then what's in it for me? And if it ain't nothing in that for them, guess what? It don't matter how many books, how much you advocate, how much you educate, how many signatures you got. They don't care. They don't care. It doesn't matter. And you need to understand that you're going to have to find, oh, I lost my space. Excuse me. So you're going to have to, let's move on to 4, mobilize and train residents. I say that because they can speak to elected officials where you have to be careful. That's called lobbying. See, that's that third dirty word. All right, prepare. If you think that there's somebody in your community that will be helpful in influencing lawmakers, use them. But when you don't have nobody, you do the JW approach. Start knocking on them doors, getting petitions. Y'all laugh at the JWs, but y'all know when y'all hear that ding ding on Saturday morning, you better look at your car. I remember y'all. So, I'm just saying, you need petitions of what votes registered. I'm like, she pulling her mic. It's like a cane. Okay, registered voters. Why must they be registered? That's an important piece. Why must they be registered? I told you Miss Joyce was good. She stepped out, but go on, Miss Joyce. Why should Keisha? You see, they know me. I always want something. Why should it be registered vote?
They need to validate, be validated. They need to be registered because otherwise, if they're not registered, they may not be a part of that community or a citizen. That you need to proof in the pudding.
Proof in the pudding. See, Miss Joyce, I told you. See how she take it from me and she run with it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find that. You need to always have a person like that in your life. I promise you. Registered voters. And then I'm gonna tell y'all, the best arsenal in the world is kids. Y'all won't believe me, but when you have kids that come in and they up there, they educate and they telling their mamas, their daddies, their councilmen, they telling everybody what you're trying to accomplish. A kid softens the heart. It does. All right, you present those petitions and you talk about talking points. Now I have a lot of, there's some papers that have been passed out in your booklets that will go through each one of these because you know Keisha need a day. But I ain't gonna do that to you. All right, make your case. Make your case in however way you need to do that. Those 2 pages is step by step in your packet. It's step by step, everything that's in this PowerPoint. And since I'm just so long-winded, of course I've exceeded my time. Because this is something that is so serious and so hard that I don't think people understand how hard it is. Especially when you've been moving in one direction and you get a calm turn. And I knew that the trend was going to T21, but it so interesting. Once Helena got it accomplished, did y'all notice? It seemed like that next day, everybody had to do it. Is it me? Am I the only one who felt that way? I felt that way. Let me tell you why. Because everybody had to do it, and I felt like it was because if Helena can do it, anybody ought to be able to do it. Well, hold on, Jack. Not so. Well, not so at all. I'm gonna go to the end because I want you, I know a lot of you guys, this is a handout that you have. I want to be able, this started all the way over. Wow. To see the commercial. How many of y'all saw the news commercial? I really want to touch on that. Once we got T21 accomplished, the media came out. And let me tell you, the media, we need media training. Because Keisha is not appropriate for the camera. I'm gonna say it for you. You ain't gotta wonder. I'm not appropriate. I'm culturally appropriate, culturally competent. Some of us can do things that others can't, right? Keisha's not. Now this woman has been doing it forever. Don't put me in front of the camera unless you give me a script and stick to it. And let me tell you what happened. My personal life, I got slaughtered. Slaughtered to where I changed my phone number. And that made me mad. Because I don't change my number after 40, you shouldn't have rotating phone numbers. So I had to change my number. Media came after me like you wouldn't believe. Why? Because they said, look girl, you did something, but guess what? You don't have no cessation nowhere in your town. So you're setting up your community for failure. And that's what happened. They reported. So everybody was like, what? She did what? Who that girl? Let's find her. Every media entity came after me personally, like Keisha got up and said, let's do T21. And it was uncomfortable, and it's still uncomfortable. So today I decided I'm just gonna come and give you the raw, the real, and what I experienced. Sometimes there are systems being put in place that are designed to hold us down and keep us from accomplishing our goal. If by any chance, anybody in this room is a system that can keep us from accomplishing the goal, move out the way. Just move out the way. Because it's hard enough. Help each other. We all need to work together. We all need to have a seat at the table. Miss Joyce, you remember them strategic plan meetings we used to do that Dr. Evans used to make us do? And we understand why. The reason why is because we had an opportunity to make a strategic framework for the state. Yeah, girl. We was like, you the doctor, we not. So, in closing, I'm gonna close. Because Miss Ruth is used to me. It's been 10 years we go together by now. She's so used to me in that she just said, Keisha, this is what you do. This is just what you do. Everybody is used to me. I've made my brand, you make yours. How you make your brand is on you. It's not me. It's time for me to sit down. And new blood needs to come with new, fresh ideas. Please give them the forum to be creative. Please do. There's no cookie cutter way for this to happen. And it may not happen for you this year. Don't put that stress on yourself. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Because it's something somebody told me a long time ago. Tobacco is changing. And if you keep working yourself to that extent, you won't die. And they're going to put somebody else in your chair. So make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. All right? Y'all remember that from Miss Keisha. All right.
Keisha, you did wonderful on your presentation. Question, you said that there was an interview that you were going to show or something about it?
Yes. Y'all didn't see the interview? I thought they disseminated that through, we sent it. So I'll just show you the interview and that's it. How do I?
Starting September 1st, you'll have to be at least 21 to buy tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, in the city of Helena, West Helena, Arkansas. The Phillips County community is the first in Arkansas to pass an ordinance raising the age from 18 to 21, and is the first city in the southern U.S. to do so. The city council voted unanimously to raise the age in the interest of public health.
We're putting a dent in the addiction in our town.
Keisha Grigsby's passion and concern about the effects of smoking convinced Helena, West Helena City Council members to raise the legal age to buy tobacco from 18 to 21. In June, council members passed the measure after hearing Grigsby's presentation and learning Phillips County is what health officials have labeled a red county.
We can see in the eastern part of Arkansas where life expectancy was 10 years or more or less than in northwest Arkansas, where there was less poverty and less smoking.
Councilman Adrian Messina owns a liquor store and also sells tobacco products. He stands to lose about 2% of sales revenue when the ordinance goes into effect, but isn't concerned.
It's not going to be a big loss to us, and I think it's going to be a big loss to anyone who sells cigarettes or tobacco products in the city or in the state.
He is a retailer, a tobacco retailer. There's only a 1% loss. You need to know that. There will be a 3% substantial loss over time. Those are the numbers you need to know, right? If you are enacting T21, you will find all of that in the paper that I disseminated. But what was interesting about this, and I want to rephrase, you heard how the media described on the introduction. There were a couple of things that she said that I really did not like. So you have to, we do need media training because I didn't know they will, I didn't know, I've never been on TV, I'm sorry. I know y'all thought I had, but I didn't know that journalists, their responsibility is to provoke, I guess, provocation, is that the word? Journalists are there to try to find a story. And that man slaughtered me terribly. And I wasn't prepared, and you don't see that. Please be prepared with media training because they're going to come with everything. They canvassed my neighborhood and knew we didn't have any cessation programs. That looked bad. He wanted them local, not the quit line. So he said that on TV, it just got edited out. Be careful, yes.
Keisha, to follow up from that, so what was the process like when they got it out that you didn't have any cessation devices program? Was that something that they gave out just through the news outlet, or like, how did that backlash actually happen?
The backlash actually happened where I got a random call from a magazine upstate. Well, it was somewhere outside of Little Rock, like more Fayetteville way. I wasn't even paying attention when I answered the phone. And she asked me the question about cessation. And I had remembered it from my, when they were filming. And she said, you know, we're going to take this to the state. I said, excuse me? I said, what? Who are you? And she says, well, I'm writing for this magazine outside of Little Rock, and I noticed that you got T21, but I also saw on the article that there's no cessation services in your area. So the backlash came to in the area of they hit the ground with the general public and said, hey, do you think it's fair that you can go to the military and you can't, and you can vote, but you can't buy cigarettes? Do you think it's fair that we live in a town where you have to be 21 to purchase any nicotine products when we're already in a dying economy and we need every dollar? That's what the reporter went to Subway, McDonald's, everything, hit the ground. He did the reverse me on me. And you know, we don't like that. We don't like we don't like that. So I was like, and so then I had constituents calling the radio station, city council, all over complaining. Then I even got a letter that says, we need to make sure you didn't lobby, Keisha. And it kind of hurt me because it came from the inside and I thought we was all a family, but I just learned that I'm not in the family. I'm an outside kid. And it really hurt me because I kind of look at us all as family because we got the same kind of, you know, objectives and calls going on. But you will find sometimes the head will chop off the tail, and you can't move, and that hurts you. When it's from the inside and you've been working with folks for years, it hurts you that somebody will say, wait a minute, high five, but hold up, girl, wait a minute. I think you lied. You couldn't have did that, girl, because you know you ain't smart enough. And we went in your background, you ain't educated enough. How that happen? Baby, look, I told you. Yes, Keisha went through it. Went through it. And Keisha was not even the one who wanted to. I didn't wake up and say, let's do T21. I received a notice just like you did. So be careful in your smaller communities because it's going to get personal, especially when it comes down to people's dollar. What they don't know, they're going to create, and then they're going to speculate, and then I can't tell you how many calls my boss get on me since T21. Oh. I started to not come because I got another call. I said, oh. But you know what? I had to say my piece. But don't be somebody that is going to be a stumbling block. If the person is trying to accomplish their goal and you gave them the tools and instructions to do so, let them do it. So what's the resolution for cessation? You talking on me? Well, you know Miss Keisha was trying to do cessation and had a successful cessation program. Y'all remember that? And y'all told me shut up? Because we only do prevention. And I kept telling y'all it wasn't going to work. And then Miss Keisha had over 100 quittals, but we was also providing pharmacotherapy. Don't set people up to fail. Don't say quit and don't give me no meds to quit. You wouldn't tell them to just, can you walk away from that cocaine, please? Why y'all laughing? Y'all told us it's more addictive than heroin and cocaine combined, but can you walk away from that, please? And can you stop smoking near me because it really, really affects me? They don't care. They can't smell no more. But you don't know that because I feel like all of y'all we all need to have some cessation courses where you understand how addictive tobacco is and how it's the only drug that's psychologically, neurologically, and physiologically addictive. No drug can do that. But you got your pamphlet though.
Let's give Ms. Grigsby a hand. Thank you. We appreciate you coming back just for us. All right, we thank you so much for attending today. I just want to remind you about your evaluations. Please complete your evaluations and leave them on the table. We have CEUs available. We have 6 o'clock hours from our Division of Continuing Education here at the university. And Ms. Robinson has that information at the front desk where you register. And I want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming for being in attendance, to UAPB-TV, to Dr. Benjamin. She provided the donuts and coffee for you this morning. And a special thank you, I don't know who you are, but to some private donors, and I know you're here in the room, and you know if it's you, I want to say thank you.
They pulled together some resources so that we can have the little snacks on the tables for you today. Because last year, we weren't able to have anything for breakfast. So thank you so much